thanks so much for stopping back or by if this is the first time for you to visit. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, the bell next to it to get notifications. Once you've viewed this video, if you like my video, give me a big thumbs up and please share it with your friends, and that will help me build my channel. I certainly would appreciate it. A couple things I'm going to discuss right now. First of all, my journey to get smooth dots is continuing. I want to show you once they dried. Here's a series of dots that I did the other day just to kind of practice and try to get smooth dots. So you can tell, a little bumpy. And like I said, I'm not sure which way to show you on these. These are either folk art enamels or the folk art multi-surface paints. So I continued on watching videos and trying to figure it out, you know, because I bought different tools. I actually ended up buying a few new tools, or actually a pack of different type of plastic, I guess, crochet hooks. Anyhow, people were talking about the Americana, the Deco Art Americana paints being really a great consistency. Apparently if it's too thick, this is when you run into problems with the bumpiness and such, and these kind of level out as they dry. The only problem I had is I got on Amazon, like I said, I bought this kit. Whoa. Ooh, that could have been a disaster. Sorry about that. Anyhow, got on Amazon, bought this kit, thought it was nice because it comes with a lot of different paints. The only thing I realized once I got it, really wasn't paying much attention, or wasn't paying attention at all, is that it's matte. I'm not a big fan of matte paints. I'm not sure if they come in a gloss. I'd have to check into that. But that's what I ended up with, is the matte. So obviously I can work with it, practice with it. Good size containers. I do like those because they're perfect for dipping your dotting tools down into. And that's great. I like that. Did a little test, and they actually do dry a little smoother. You know, there's still a little ridge there, a little bump, but they actually are definitely a lot smoother than the folk art enamels. And I would imagine that's probably because they're a little bit thicker paint and these are a little bit thinner. So you could probably work with a medium to thin these down a little bit. If you're doing it on glass though, you have to be careful, and I definitely still recommend glass paint for glass, is if you are using a medium that's thinning these down, don't mix these with water if you're using it on glass, because that will mess with the durability. Do not mix them with water if you're painting on glass. So needless to say, I will probably still continue to, well, I definitely will continue to use the folk art on my glassware. I'm going to do glasses today for you, and that's the reason I brought up the dots and the consistencies and such. I will have to go back to the folk art enamels or multi-surface paints to do this. I did buy these. These are my newer tools that I bought the other day because I saw somebody who was doing a video that this is one of the tools they actually use. Now some people actually use paintbrushes. And basically what they do, if it's a round brush, they cut the tip off so that it doesn't have the point, and then they use that. I haven't progressed to that yet. I don't know if that's something that's more for a more skilled Mandala painter. I don't know. I'm still going to try to tackle this project or this type of painting. Still going to try to master it with these tools first before I start chopping up paintbrushes. But anyhow, this set comes in 4 different sizes, up to, I believe, well, that looks like the biggest one. I thought it said 11 millimeters. This is 11.5 millimeters. So there's a 9 millimeter, 8, and a 10. So I guess I'm doing them backwards. But anyhow, still a good size circle. I think for most projects that would work. You know, you don't really need to have a 14 millimeter or 16 millimeter to do a nice project with it. So anyways, that's what I will be using on this project. I want to show you, basically these are my excuse me, 20-ounce wine glasses This is the red wine glass. I have base coated it with, not that one, what did I do with it? I love when I do pick out a paint and then I can't find it. The enamel glitter, which is by Folk Art, and this is the silver. So I have gone ahead and base painted one, and we'll do the base painting here with you. Put some tape around it to try to protect the rim a little bit, and then a little bit of tape right here just to give me a cutoff point. Not sure that I got it on really straight, but you know, whatever. It's good enough. I'll fix it up with dots. I am using the Glass Art by Dynasty, number 71 to 3/8 brush. Love these brushes when you're doing a solid base paint. Love them, love them, love them. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm just going to start with showing you how to do this part of it. Now, again, if you are an experienced mandala painter and have any suggestions, I'm all ears. Please, 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 please share. You know, my love is painting on glass, but I will be doing some new projects coming up, and I'm hoping that those will be what I base a lot of my videos on, so it's not going to be all glass painting. Sorry if that's what you prefer. I'm still going to try to intermix. Still working on my watercolor. To get brave enough to share that with you, because I'm definitely no expert watercolorist by any means. I'm definitely very beginner basics. Probably that on most things. Honestly, no, I've been doing a lot of this for a long time. Glass painting, I have painted thousands of glasses, so sold thousands of glasses, so I'm not really a newbie on that one. But you know, coming up with different designs and things that keep people interested, that's hard. My love is flowers, so I think that's why I gravitate towards those so much. And I think I get that honestly because my mother's side of the family used to be farmers that sold flowers and produce and such, but they were into snapdragons. And actually my great-grandpa was responsible for some of the different breeds of snapdragons that he would come up with. I'm not even sure if they're still produced anymore. I wish I knew more about it. But unfortunately my grandfather and great-grandfather were killed in a farming accident before, well, actually when my mother was still young. My mother was only 7. And so a lot of that kind of knowledge and such kind of went to the wayside, and probably on other family members that didn't really appreciate what they had and kind of ran it down to the ground, which is unfortunate. Seems like that happens a lot though, when you look back at people's family histories of what their ancestors used to be and who they were. Because of the next generation, sometimes that doesn't last. But anyways, I think my mother always had a love of flowers, and I have always too, and that's why I gravitate towards painting them so much. I'm not really into painting landscapes. Really not my thing. And I don't know why, because I do think they're very interesting and pretty. But I've never been able to get into that. Probably because I can't stand how long something takes, maybe that's why. But yeah, you can see what a good coverage this type of brush puts on. First time I started using them, which has been a while, I just love them because I do a lot of the one-stroke, multi-loading brush type painting. So to do base painting, that's something that I didn't do a whole lot of. Probably do more of it now, just trying to make my glassware more durable, because I know that the thicker the paint is, the more durable it is, without getting it too thick. These are so pretty. done some other designs with this paint. I just love this paint. Let me know down in the comments below if you've ever used the multi-surface glitter paint. It's not multi-surface, I'm sorry. The Folk Art Enamel Glitter. That's what it's called. I'm sure multi-surface probably has a range of them as well. Alright, then I'm just going to kind of go back through and try to smooth it down a little bit. Kind of thick down here at the base, but that's okay. Like I said, it's okay. You know, it'll dry nicely. I just, I don't know if I ever took pictures of the other glosses I've painted, given away as gifts to people that they're just so pretty. And they have the gold. They have it in gold too. And I'm still trying to think what colored dots I'm going to put on here. Initially I was thinking of doing this in the frost paint and then doing white dots, thinking more towards a wedding glass of some sort. Toasting glasses, fun drinking glasses for your wedding. Because I know in today's wedding world, you know, some people use the glasses that they toast with as their actual drinking glasses for the evening or the day, whatever their reception is. And then some will have, you know, specific toasting glasses. And that's where I've probably got into painting a lot, is the glassware for the receptions. What color dots do you think I should paint these? Now I'm not going to paint the entire glass. I'm not going to get that crazy with it. I figure for maybe something that's probably to give it some interest and some design, which is fine, but I'm not going to go crazy with it and paint all of it as a dot. I'm just not going to do that on the first try. I think that's being too I don't even know how to say it, like too sure of myself, which I'm not. So anyways, alright, so I will be back to continue on, take the tape off, and continue going with these glasses. And yeah, I think they're going to be pretty. I like them. Alright, so if you have any suggestions for the dots, dotting tools, methods, and such, please let me know before I get started on painting the dots. Alright, so here is my finished product as far as the wine glosses go with the dots. Still not happy with my dots. I'm not sure what to do with them. One other thing I'm going to check into is maybe see if there's some different glass paint, but I really like the Folk Art enamels. So I just did an easy, you know, did the painted background in the glitter, and then just did a couple rows of the bigger dots and just some smaller dots around them. Just something very simple. Still think it turned out pretty. I mean, I still think it's a pretty glass. I just wish that the paint would behave a little differently. I will not be baking this because I'm afraid that in some spots, because of the thicker paint, that it will maybe bubble up. So I'll just coat it with the Mod Podge, which is the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, once it dries. I'm going to go ahead and do one for you now, show you how I went ahead and just did some tape around the top, kind of as guidelines to where to put the initial circles, the bigger circles that I'm doing, and then just kind of eyeballed the other ones that I put in between. So that's why I have the tape on here, to kind of be a guideline for me to start off. And I'm just trying to hit the dots around basically the top of that paint. I just want to make sure my tape is moved a little bit so I can do that without getting the paint in it, or the paint on the tape, I should say. put my guidelines and then I paint into it, so that one probably won't be so bad. Alright, so basically I'm using the new the plastic crochet hooks, and I'm just dipping in right at the top. Make sure I show you this, right underneath the tape. Like I said, this tape's kind of in the way. Get up a little bit. It seems like no matter what I do, and I tried to smooth this out, I'm just still getting either it just looks clumpy. I just want it to dry smoothly, and that's what's bothering me. It's almost like I might as well just leave the tip and make them look like Hershey Kisses. I'm even, trying to scoot the tip off. Somebody said, oh, you don't need to do that. It'll flatten out. Well, it's really not flattening out. Alright, so there. Now, like when I used the Americana, I may have had a little bit of a hump there, but then it flattened out. I'm just not familiar enough with that brand to know if they have glass paint, which I'm sure they probably do. I've just never used it. I guess I'm just, one of the problems I'm having, I'm just not really wanting to change all my paint because I know what I like basically when I'm painting on glass. I really like the Folk Art brand, the enamels or the multi-surface. And I am trying to dip and pull it up. So again, if you're an experienced dotter, especially for glass, and you have any suggestions on this, I would truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Love to hear from you. Just kind of wiping my tool off a little bit. Some of them aren't so bad, and you can do double, dip and do a different color on top of one after it dries. But I don't even know. I mean, that's not going to resolve. Might cover up the initial one, but then the one on top's going to have ridges or mountains or whatever. I've tried to touch lightly, not to use as much paint. I mean, I've just tried all different things, and it's still, I still have, and I've, taken my little dotting tools here and gone through and just tried to smooth them out some. And it may even be a situation where it needs, maybe doing it by brush is the best. But I don't know if that matters. I don't know. I mean, it smooths it out some, so you don't have the peak, but then you have, you still have bumps and such. It'll smooth out maybe a little bit, but it's not, because of the testing I've done on paper, it's not going to go away. It will not completely smooth down. And I have not mixed any kind of flow medium or mediums into this paint to try to see if maybe thinning it would help. I have not done that. I'll be honest with you on that one. That has not happened. Okay, so basically I'm going to continue on with this. Take one of my smaller dotting tools and then dot with silver around it. Now also another one that I saw was showing how to do this and making sure you get a lot of paint up on just over the bob should help with making sure that the dots, that you have enough paint to get around it. Well, I'm not finding that to be true either. I'm a little disheartened. I mean, like I said, I still think it's a pretty glass, don't get me wrong. But definitely not as happy with it as I wish that I could feel about it with a smoother dot. But as I told one of my followers, I will keep working on it and figure it out. And I'm really not trying to be, with the different size dots and all, I'm really not trying to be picky about the sizes at all. They're just kind of random dots on this glass since it's just such a project. I mean, an experimental project, I should call it. So I say I was not intending to do a full mandala design on this glass. My intention was just to do what I just did. Nothing has changed regarding that. Okay, so I got the first row. I'll wipe this off because the next dot is going to be silver, and on that one I will be using the acrylic crochet needle that's 10 millimeters. Make sure I use the right end, right? That would help. Okay, so I'm dipping it in. Now some people say you don't have to knock off the little tip, but I know you don't have to, but I'm trying to do that to see if that helps. I am dipping it every time I do a new dot, and I'm just on this, just eyeballing. You know, with my painting, I don't have to be perfect. See, if you do it like that, you still are going to have like a little Hershey kiss. I don't want a Hershey kiss on my glass. And no matter what, if I do a light touch, go over it, it still have it. It is relaxing though, I have to tell you that. It is relaxing. Definitely fun to do. I can give it that much. Okay, so there we go on that one. So my basic pattern is just doing these dots and then doing the opposite color around them. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I stay on the screen here. And again, I'm just trying to dot around it. I don't really care what the size of the dots are. I can spend more time on that if I'm doing a design for, you know, to sell. I'm just kind of doing this one because I do have, you know, people that have requested this on glass. Yeah, and I don't, you know, with using this tool, it's pretty easy. These dots I'm not having an issue with, it's the bigger dots. Because I can do the bigger, the smaller, you know, with pressure, less pressure type thing. That's not a problem. But like I said, for the purpose of this, I'm just doing random dots around it, so it's not taking forever, hopefully. think it ended up being pretty, don't get me wrong. And it's an easy design to paint. Just a little disappointed in the dots, the bigger dots. Alright, so then the last one I'm going to do are going to be gold dots, and this one is a 9mm. Oops, make sure I switch to the right color. I'm going to go back into the gold. Both of these are metallics. One is silver, one is gold, obviously. Guess you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that. Again, randomly putting them on here. They don't have to be perfect by any means as far as the spacing or the lineup. And these, I'm just kind of putting them on. And then I think this one will be the last one in that. That one's a little bit high. Oh well. Maybe if it bothers you, you can correct it. I'm not particularly concerned about it. Alright, so on these, I didn't do it on the other ones, which I will probably go back through and do so. But I'm just kind of... I thought even a paintbrush, but it's like, I don't know about that either. Still don't think that's going to get it smooth. But I watch people do this, and I still think there should be a way to... Like I said, it could just be the paint, it could be how I'm doing it. You know, again, if you are someone that's experienced with this, please let me know. Because I know I'm not the only one who really wants to know this either. Definitely not the only one. I'm going to go in here and do this with the silver too. I didn't do it before. See, the other, you know, when it's drying, it's not a leveling out. If it were self-leveling, it would probably be awesome, but it's not. And I'll tell you, on some of my older paintings, when I would send glass out and I'd done some of the dotting around this part here, and came down on the stem a little bit, they were pretty sharp. I had one person tell me, it's like, you know, I was afraid I was going to cut my fingers on them. I'm thinking, oh, that's not good. You really don't want to be fearful of that. Yes, I just got cut on my glass. That's not good. Definitely not good. Alright, so let's continue on. And like I said, I'm just going to do the basic thing here too. Just put some dots around it. Like I said, with the glitter and the dots, you know, I think that it's still pretty glass. Like I said, you know, I'm not saying that it's not. It still is a pretty glass, but I just wish that I could master these dots. That's bothering me. It's a little bit bigger over here. So I'm getting to the point where I've spent a fortune on tools and paint and stuff trying to figure this out. I'm sorry if this is boring you. I said it's fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Alright, so I got that. And then basically around the top, what I did on the other glass is just did the small dots, kind of randomly around the top. You don't have to do this. But I thought it just gave it a nice little, you know, fun finished look. Okay, sorry. That. I love this glitter paint too. It's just really, like I said, it just gives such a pretty finish on the glass. I did some of these before with, I think it was swirls, and you know, with the paint, swirled the paint around on it. Just, like I said, such a pretty finish on them. Very pretty. Alright, so then around the bottom, I am going to use, there's a band in the glass here a little bit, and I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to kind of use that as a guideline here for my dots. You know, with this paint being the way it is, it's kind of hard to see, but this will give it a finish without having to go completely down the stem. Now you could actually finish the stem maybe in a solid silver, solid gold. That would be pretty as well. But I'm just going to leave it light and airy, if you want to call it that. And then I'm just going to go back over it and add some gold dots just right above, kind of in between, trying to hit in between the silver. And it just gives it a nice little band around the bottom of the bowl of the glass. And then all I will do is just take this off, try to lift it up so that I don't get it down into the paint. And then these two will be finished. And like I said, you know, let me know what you think down below. If you have any suggestions, obviously with the dots, I'd love to hear from you. If you like these glasses, give me a big thumbs up. Please share with your friends. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask. I'd love to hear from you. But you know, again, even though my dots aren't great, I think it's still a pretty glass, a nice idea, a great easy way to start doing the dots without covering the whole glass. And I will be, this will be it for this evening. I do appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please make sure you do so by clicking below on the subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notifications whenever I am posting a new video. And until the next one, I appreciate you stopping by. Have a good one.